Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at the Physio Room. Again, my name is Dr. Andrew Fix, and we're going to go through today our third installment, or check off the third item on our Ready to Run checklist. Okay, so this one is particularly important for those longer distance events. I mean, really it's important anytime, but it becomes harder the longer the run is or the longer your event is, because these muscles tend to break down and get a little bit fatigued. So what we're going to be talking about today, if you're following along on that list, and I've got mine right here, is bracing your spine and being able to turn on your glutes. So you've probably heard before, or somebody has probably said about themselves that, you know, runners tend to have weak glutes, or somebody told me that my glutes just aren't firing. Well, that may or may not be true. More than likely, they're firing. You're needing them and using them when you run. But the importance of bracing your spine and being able to have stability through your trunk is not often something that's talked about in the running community, right? We're usually talking about things with our legs, being able to have turnover, being able to fire your glutes, being able to land with either a forefoot or a heel strike. And we're not always talking about our spine. So I'm here to put that top of mind for you guys. So why is that important? Why is it important that we brace our spine when we run? So if I stand here facing sideways, what we're going to be talking about is the importance of balancing your pelvis in your rib cage, or balancing your rib cage over your pelvis, okay? So if you watch here, what we often see with our runners, our clients coming in, is if we watch them run, they tend to be in this overly extended position where their back is really arched. Or at the end of their run, maybe they're getting tired and they have what we call sort of text neck or texting posture. And the longer they run, the more tired they get, and they're slouching, right? They're slouched in their shoulders. So what we're going to talk about today is how to turn your glute muscles on and help you stabilize that pelvis and balance your rib cage over the pelvis. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to angle this phone down here so that you can see my feet. What I want you to do, you can see my feet here. I want you to stand with your feet hip width apart, and I'm going to stand on one of these lines so that you can see it. Now what we're going to do is screw your feet into the ground, okay? So if you watch my shoes, I'm going to twist and screw my feet into the ground, and you can sort of see my shoes moving there. Again, screw your feet into the ground. If your feet were on some dinner plates, those plates would turn. The right one would turn clockwise, the left would turn counterclockwise. But you notice my shoes are not actually moving. They're sticking into the ground. And what that does, you guys, is that fires those glute muscles, okay? So if I step back here again, what I want you to do is feel on the side of your hip, right down here by your pocket, if you've got pockets on your pants today, find that bone. We call this the greater trochanter. You've probably heard of this before. What that bone is where a lot of our glute muscle tendons attach. And they attach there so that they can control your leg and move your leg around. So again, feet hip width apart, feel that bone. And now I want you to screw your feet into the ground again. You should feel your knees slightly push outward. And with your hands, you should feel that bone sort of pull backwards or start to move. What that means is your glute medius especially, is kicking in and it's externally rotating or turning out your femur or your thigh, okay? What that's doing is that's creating some tension or creating some torque in the hip. And when we create torque through our hip or through our shoulder, what that does is that sort of locks that hip right there into the socket, and that creates stability. And what do we want when we're running? We want to be stable, and we want to be springy, and we want to be able to propel ourselves forward using some of the biggest muscles we've got in our glutes, okay? So when we're running, if we balance, squeeze our glutes, balance our rib cage over our pelvis, now what I want you to do is fill that stomach with air. Build some tension here in the abdominals. And now if you feel your stomach, you'll feel that tension in there. And now what we've got to do is we've got to hold it and be able to breathe, okay? Because you've got to be able to breathe when you're running. And initially, this might feel a little challenging. So this might feel like, man, this is hard work to hold some tension in my abs or in my trunk here while I'm trying to run. And until you get to practice it a little bit, it might actually take you a little bit more energy or expend some more energy. But the better you get at it, the easier it will be, the longer you'll be able to run without your form breaking down. One of the sort of technique practice things I like to do is balance that rib cage over the pelvis, screw those feet out, and now just sort of go back and forth through a running pattern here, or like a high knee motion, and see if you can keep that tension in the abdominals, keep those glute muscles squeezing, and keep that pelvis and rib cage relationship. You're not letting it get farther apart. You're not crunching up and getting it closer together. You're keeping it the same distance apart as you shift from one foot to the other. Okay, if you want to come in and see us, we can go through this in a lot more detail with your running form specifically, because everybody runs just a little bit different. We can watch you run when you're fresh and when you're fatigued, and see what sort of breakdowns you have, and we can start to go through these things with you so that you can run far, run healthy, and run for the long term. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in here. Video number 4 coming up next. We're going to talk about the ankle and the importance of having mobility in our ankle for your running. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.